But also, I don't think it's fair to be assigned all the blame for an online relationship not working out. Because, how can you really even blame someone for something that never happened in reality between the two of you? How can you harbor those kind of feelings and that resentment towards someone who you never really met, you know? So it's just like, I don't know. I personally, I just try to let stuff go. I let that person go. I let the situation go. I let the history of it and the bad memories of it go. Because holding on to that stuff is going to pull me down to those low vibrations. And I've been there before on those low vibrations. And I do not want to be there again. And I don't want to live my life there. So if something was causing me to have these feelings, of being unsure of it or not being content, not being at peace with it, and I'm constantly questioning it, and my intuition is telling me, hey, you're not happy with this, or you need to talk about this with someone, and then you try to talk about the issue with that person, and because they're the person who is actually giving you this issue, they don't understand. You end up fighting and arguing, and it's all just virtual. And you never even see this person or meet this person. So at the end of the day, you don't know what their feelings were like or their emotions. You didn't get to see the facial expressions. You didn't get to see the body language. You didn't get to infuse and engage with their energy and the awareness of their energy and their lifeline. And that is so important in any relationship because it gives us that fulfillment and the meaning of the union and being together. So, just constantly having an online relationship and it never progressing into anything more, anything real in reality it's no different from trying to have a relationship with, a garage door or your car door or something. Nothing is ever going to come of that. Nothing is ever going to amount out of you trying to have a relationship that's just one-sided, and that person is never going to be able to give back to you what you need, and it's just constantly going to keep going around in that kind of a toxic circle. And the only way to really be free of that is to just, get out of it, sit yourself apart from whatever is toxic for you, and don't look back, and just keep going and get your new circle and create that new life that you want to live for yourself, even if it is sans a virtual relationship, and even if that person is mad at you or they resent you or they harbor these ill feelings towards you. Try to do your best to make amends with that person, but making amends is not the same as, hey, you have to be romantically involved with them for the rest of your life, because sometimes that just doesn't work out. And as much as we want that, as much as we wanted it in the beginning, and as much as that was our original intent, it just didn't work out that way in the end. And so, it's best if two people can just make peace with that and go their separate ways without harboring those ill feelings or that resentment or that hatred, because it's not good. That's not good for our health. It's not good for our mind. It's not good for our body to harbor resentment and ill feelings toward anyone. It's always best, to make amends and try to find that peace and that balance and that harmony that we need in our life so that we can live our life on our highest vibrations and live our life in the best possible way that our destiny would dictate and our higher self. So it's all about energy, and it's important that we're selective with the energy. The energy outputs the energy outputs of everything around us becomes our energy input. So we're like sponges that just soak up all that energy from everything around us. And if you decide that you are going to allow certain people in your life and they're toxic and they're constantly giving you this toxic energy output that becomes your toxic energy input, then you definitely want to kind of, consider if that person is the right person to be in your life. And sometimes you realize that they're not the right person to be in your life because they are causing you to sink lower onto those lower vibrations, and they are causing you to live your life in a lesser capacity than what you could be living maybe if you weren't attached to them and you weren't infusing with their negative output. And so you also can give off that negative output to others. And that means you're probably not the right person to be around them. So it's vice versa. It's a two-way street. I never believe that anything is just one person's fault. I believe that if there is fault or blame in any situation, then it takes everyone that was involved in that situation, whether it be 2 people, 3 people, whatever, everyone gets assigned a portion of that blame because that's equal and fair. If you participate in a relationship, if you participate in an activity, if you participate in business, whatever, then you and everyone else involved in that participation becomes accountable for your involvement. So you can't just say, hey, I participated, but when it went bad, it was all your fault, because that's not fair. And that's not the right thing to do. I participated, so when it went bad, it was also partly my fault. And I can accept that, in relationships or whatever. I can accept my fault and what I was to blame for. And I can admit that. I can say, okay, that was terrible of me. I really shouldn't have done that, and that made me feel regret and shame, guilt, remorse. And I can talk about that stuff, but also I can go forward and just let that stuff go and try to learn from it, and let that be the silver lining of the bad situation, is that, well, hey, I learned something from that bad situation. So something good came out of that bad. And that's what I try to focus on. The good that comes out of the bad, the sunshine after the storm. It's the basic give and take of life, the yin and yang, and we just kind of have to tune into that and try our best to harmoniously flow with that. So making amends is important. If we do wrong someone, or if we hurt someone and they're left with these feelings of, I hate this person, then it's good to make amends with that person and try to reach that middle ground of forgiveness, because forgiveness is harmonious to our health and our well-being, and it helps us rise higher when we choose to forgive, forget, move on, love one another, and, even be friends. Even though we've been through bad stuff together, it's still possible for two souls to be friends throughout all of that. So, we have to choose that for ourselves, and it falls back to our free will. We have to choose for ourselves. This is what we want to do. We want to be better. We want to rise higher. We want to choose love. We want to choose light. And so that free will choice allows us to manifest that. That manifestation comes back like that boomerang I talked about earlier, and in the form of a life well lived. So that's what it's all about, It's about getting that energy right and making sure that we make amends with any of the energy fluctuations that have happened throughout our lifetime. And so we kind of want to go back and check ourselves a little bit, and see what might need tended to, and what areas we might need to work a little bit in, and to create a better version of ourselves for tomorrow, so we can flow higher and fly. Yeah, that's right. So we can fly, so we can flow higher, and we can rise and live on our highest vibrations and live our lives the best possible way that they can be lived. So here's to flying, right? Here's to flying and mounting up with wings like eagles and soaring over the peaks of everything and everything we ever need to be. Everything and everything. Okay, I think I've talked too much, because now I'm starting to twist my words and get tongue twisted. So I'm gonna go. Bye. And I hope to see you next time. But until then, make sure you slay.